But anyway, we want to get into some, mom's advice that was, that we got, and that it has applicability even today for the things that are going on today. So I don't know, Tracy, if you've got something, I can start off with my mom.
We have one
and
in the comments, so
just to remind people in the comments, this is not just generally mom comments. This is your mom with comments that are good and applicable maybe to today. So
keep it clean. This is a family show. So
well, I mean, we don't need like turn out the light when you leave the room kind of thing.
Yeah, or wait till your dad gets home. That's what I heard a lot.
Well, that might be good.
That might be good advice for today.
Yeah. Okay, Joe, go ahead. What do you got up first?
Well, my mom, of course, we served bread with every meal. She served bread with every meal. And as soon as the bread came out, she said, butter it while it's hot. So she was known for that, butter it while it's hot. Okay, so, what does that mean? What do you learn from that? And what can we take from that for now? Because what I hear there and what we were being told really was, the bread is hot now, it's time to butter it. Seize the opportunity, that's the old seize the day, seize the opportunity, take the open door, go on the adventure, the thing's right there. And if you don't do it right now, the butter's not going to melt on the bread. If you don't take this opportunity right now, the door might close. If you don't seize, this chance, this issue right now, that issue may go away and you may not have another chance again. So butter while it's hot, while we heard it all the time, I think, it really was telling us, here, the thing is ready right now. This is the priority. This is the thing to do. This is the thing to take. It's not going to stay hot. It's going to turn cold, and you're going to lose your opportunity. And this is a big opportunity to have melted butter on your bread.
Yeah.
Well,
and you look at, I'm sitting here thinking in my mind with the whole COVID and way churches had to close down, or a lot of them did. And, the internet became the hot bread that you really needed to take advantage of, I think. And so those are things I think about. Yeah.
You couldn't wait.
You couldn't wait.
You want to wait. The opportunity was there to ramp that up and do it. And so I think the kids took it as that this is, there's an opportunity, there's an open door, there's a chance for adventure. She was kind of known for being pretty risky on things we would do. My grandmother told Glenda when we had our first kid, do not let your kid, let your mom, Kay is my mom. Do not let Kay take your kids anywhere alone. Because she's afraid she'd do a parachute jump with them or something while we were.
I could see that.
Yeah, she was a go-getter, take the risk, take the adventure. Yeah.
So one of the comments on that says, Nick says, love hot bread, literally and metaphorically.
Yeah. I love it more literally than metaphorically, to be honest with you.
Yeah, you want to stand up for us, Tracy, and show us that?
Yeah. Give the side view.
Yeah.
You notice I stay down as much as I can.
Yeah.
All right. So my first one up is, my mom used to say, still does, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it at all. So she was usually saying that to us kids. But yeah, today that I would say that is very good advice. We can look at just something that happened here recently with a Republican and a Democrat, and they said something, one said the other into one thing to another, and it wasn't very nice. And we see this online all the time. I've said all along, I'm for masks. Even if I find out a year from now they didn't do a whole lot of good, I just believe, there's enough there to say we should, but those who don't believe the way I do, I'm not going to call them a moron. I saw someone who did that recently. And I've seen it go both ways. I've seen it both sides, just really ugly. They'll put these really, what I think are very ugly memes, as we'd say, online about whether it's a mask, to pro mask, fault, non-mask, whatever. And that's just one issue. I think masks are just a big issue right now, but just how ugly people have been over something that seems, it's hot. I shaved my beard because of it, because I'm burning up in them. But, the fact of the matter is, it's not worth calling people names and just being ugly.
Yeah, I think my mom used to tell me, to go along that lines, the world is ugly enough, it doesn't need your help. Like, if why add more ugly to the world if it's not going to really add any value to it? So
Yeah, we're not.
I got a couple in the comments. I'll go ahead and throw one out there that goes, well, this will be a quick one, but it goes with what you were just saying, Tracy. Diane Williams says, "Don't get your panties in a wad."
I heard that a lot.
Our number one.
I forgot about that one, man. Yeah.
My mom didn't let me wear panties.
Yeah.
I don't know. Those leisure suits are pretty close to it.
So
leisure suits was bad enough. No, that's true. I mean,
toughen up, grow some thicker skin. Another way to say that. Let me give a little more serious one. I mean, that one's pretty serious, but this one comes from your wife, Tracy, Missy Moore.
Oh,
pretty is as pretty does.
Okay, I've heard that one. I don't think my mom really used that one.
Joe, your mom throw that one at you?
Dude.
That was Missy's mom, right? Missy's
it would have to be Missy's mom.
Yeah.
And
then one more, just throwing it out here. Carlene Wiley says, "My mom always says, remember who you are," which is pretty sound advice. I think leaning into we often forget ourselves, especially, a lot of factors right now are making us lose ourselves. You mentioned social media. A lot of people grow a lot more courage behind a keyboard and can become a lot more hateful behind a keyboard. I think the virus is pulling, social distancing in our homes, isolation, masks, the argument of that. I think you're starting to see the true colors of people. The niceties are starting to wear off, and you're beginning to see the raw self. And so remembering who you are, especially as Christ followers.
Yeah, that's what came to mind for me. Yeah,
that's solid advice. So there's some from the comments. I'll keep my eye. I see some more, but we'll keep them rolling here.
Yeah. Well, the other thing, my mom, which I'm grateful for, the advice she had was, I needed to read through the Bible straight through like a novel, like a story. In other words, not just picking and choosing, but from Genesis to Revelation, sit down and read it like you would a normal book. And read it through like, straight through to see the story. So I did. Way back when I was young. And once again, what does that say for us today? Well, I think we all know we can go round and round about what's going to resolve this kind of ugliness that's going on back and forth. And we know what's going to resolve that ugliness is found in the Bible, right there. Yeah. So the more people reading that thing, the more people reading through that Bible is going to be a positive to our culture and our community and how we interact with each other. So good advice from my mom.
Well, to add to that real quick, so my mom did something similar, but she did it as punishment. Like, I was not being nice or something, which I know that's surprising. But she would make me go to my room and just read my Bible so that I could figure out my attitude, basically.
Interesting.
That's why I became a preacher. I kept sitting in my room and
you
read
love
the
forcing
Bible,
people into their Bibles.
Oh yeah, I read it.
So
I was in a great mood to read the Bible.
To go with that advice, Joe. Our church today, a couple of hours ago, posted a video. We have a tidbit series, and we posted 5 tips to help you in your Bible study or as you approach the Bible. If you're a brand new Christian or getting back into it or a regular, 5 tips to help you with that. So there you go. We're offering advice.
The interesting thing about that advice is that she got that from her dad, who gave her $100 if she'd read through the Bible. So she did. I got the same thing. It wasn't punishment for me. I got a reward.
Now, of course, all preachers have told the story about that, and they say they stick the $100 bill in there, and they'll come back and say, "Oh yeah, I read it," and then, but if they didn't find the $100 bill, then I was
a good son. You didn't have to worry about that.
Oh, you were wearing you in those leisure suits. You were
Tracy, what your mom got for us in the world?
Okay, this kind of goes with the speech thing. Just we need plenty of mama sayings on speech. I'll wash your mouth out with soap. and I just want to be
punishment.
Listen, you can tell. My mom tried to bring out all the arsenal she could. It was not easy on her. And by the way, I did eat soap. I did. I went through a stage where me and the neighbor kids, we played football and stuff all the time, and they cussed, and I don't know, it was dumb. But anyway, I've seen enough that in our culture right now, it'd probably be good to wash some people's mouth out with soap. It's a miserable experience if you don't know that. Not just, again, you can say certain things, you can believe a certain thing, but being and using very vulgar tone and vulgar words in order to get your point across, it doesn't do it. It just doesn't do it. And it doesn't matter, whether it's, a little kid or whether it is some leader of whatever in our world. And
well, what that's reminding us or showing us as kids is your actions have consequences. Even your words have consequences. And James talks about this all the time, that the tongue, it's like a spark in a fire that starts a forest fire. It's like it's as small as a rudder on a ship, as bits in a horse. But with the same mouth, we curse people and bless God. And then I love the next section he talks about. You want to know what kind of fruit, when you want to know what kind of tree it is, what kind of fruit does it produce? That's what's going to tell you what kind of tree you're dealing with there. And that's the tongue. If you want to know who a person is, what's coming out of their mouth, what's coming out of your mouth. Yeah. So it's good advice.
Similar on my number 3 on my list is the advice, and I don't know if it's advice actually. You did not use God unless you were talking to God.
I'm teaching my boys this right now. I hear them from the bathtub. They'll be yelling, "Shh, don't use God's name in vain."
That not only God, but don't try gosh. Don't try golly. Don't get anywhere close to that. But what we were learning is just kind of what we're talking about right now. We were really learning not just respect for God, but respect for other folks who would be offended by using that. And don't offend people unnecessarily. So watch what your language is, and we've gotten to a culture now that is so coarse and vulgar, just like you were talking about, Tracy, that the F word is just now a normal word you use to talk to somebody that you don't like.
13-year-olds, like PG-13 movies are allowed one of them. It's a 13-year-old can just hear that in a TV show they're watching. Just crazy.
But maybe we'd have a little bit of understanding for immature teens and kids coming up, and they're going to try the swear words and stuff like that. But these adults, the march they had here in Vero for the Black Lives Matter thing, and they're, F the police and this and that. These are supposedly, mature, intelligent adults who don't know how to speak. decently with one another. And so, that respect, I appreciate my mom instilling that in me, as I grew up, to not have that kind of, that kind of outlook, that kind of talk to other people and disrespect for what
So
they.
talking about how we should talk to people, let me give some more in the comments. Stephanie Chisholm says the best one I have heard recently, so I don't know if it's from her mom, I'm assuming it's from her mom, was the 5-second rule. And this is not about food, drop it on the ground.
Oh, well, it's 3 seconds in Alabama. So, but anyway, go ahead.
The 5-second rule is if they can't fix it in 5 seconds, don't say anything about it. So, say things like, yeah, food in your teeth, your zipper's unzipped, stuff like that. But try to speak nicely to people. If they can't fix it in 5 seconds, maybe it's more polite to wait on it. So that's interesting. I've never heard that one.
Never heard that one. No.
Yeah.
Must be a new mama.
New mama. Yeah. Ethel Meadows. She says, don't bring shame to your dad. So
I
maybe
think the Bible says something about that and about your mom even.
Yeah,
Well,
maybe
I think,
a way to say it, don't bring shame to your family or the people who raised you.
And going back to what Carlene said about remember who you are, it's kind of remember who you are and who you belong to, your family, your name. Those kind of things are important.
Yeah. And your daughter, Andrea, emphasized that even more. She said, Sammy's mom always says, even now, when one of us kids leaves her house, remember who you are and whose you are. Yeah. So even now, as a grown woman, as a mom herself, she's getting that still. Remember who you are. Remember your family unit.
Well, and I think about, in our culture today, you hear a lot of, look, it's not about you. It's not on you. It's, this is all, whatever I act, it's just me. Like it doesn't affect anybody else.
Yeah.
But that's exactly what our moms all taught us is no, you disgrace yourself, you're disgracing the family. Right. And the Bible goes even further than that. You're disgracing God's family. You're disgracing God himself.
Right. Well, and we get to like genealogies in the Bible and we're like snoozeville, right? It's like, okay, I can skip this part. Obviously it's not for me. But like we do it today, like ancestry roots, like those genealogy, those things are huge right now. And if you're related to somebody famous, everybody knows about it. You're telling everybody about it because
I'm related to Elvis. I just want that out there, but
okay, well,
it's there. It's like, in my genealogy.
There's something about that. It's like, look at my roots, look where I come from. Yeah. And it's like, you taint that in some way of everybody who came before you or everybody who comes after you in the choices you make. And so it's important. Yeah. It's part of your family line. Tracy, more mom advice. What do you got for us?
Never look a gift horse in the mouth. Is that how it goes? Never look a gift horse.
Your mom.
Your mama. How'd she say it?
I wrote it down, but I'm pretty sure it's how it goes. Never look a gift horse in the mouth. Okay. So I'd always heard that, and I knew it meant, appreciate what you have. But I actually looked it up because I'm like, okay, I don't even know where this comes from, but it actually comes from
Greek mythology.
Yeah. Well, when people would buy a horse, they would look at its teeth. And so, but if someone gave you a horse and you looked at its teeth, that was offensive. Yeah. So that's where the saying comes, never look a gift horse in the mouth. But it's basically, look, you've been given something here that you didn't earn.
Be grateful.
Be grateful. Be grateful for what you have. Be grateful. Don't complain. Just be appreciative of the blessings you have in your life, rather than always, looking at the teeth, I guess.
Appreciate what's been given to you. And that's especially true as Christians. Like, look at all of the blessings that we receive all the time. And if you can't look at your life and as a Christian and find blessings, look at the cross. There is the blessing that's been given to you.
Absolutely.
Okay. My last one I have from my mom.
Okay.
And this was always aggravating as I advanced into my teen years. Nothing good happens after midnight.
Yes.
Yeah. I still tell my kids that.
Yeah, nothing good happens after midnight. Now, yeah, like I say, that was always kind of, man, what difference does it make 12 midnight? You know, now, after a career as a prosecutor and a judge, I'm going to tell you, nothing good happens after midnight.
Yeah.
That she was
Yeah.
exactly right. And you know what she's really saying, and what the lesson is for us, and even today, is, you know, the choices you make, the things you do, can put you in situations that can do you and others harm, even though you don't, you know, you're not. It shouldn't necessarily turn out to be how it turns out. I mean, it may not seem fair. For instance, you know, when most people are driving drunk after midnight, if you're out driving around, you might get hit by a drunk driver. You increase your risk. I'm going to go to a party. I'm not going to drink. I know everybody else is going to be drinking. You just increase the risk of something going wrong and something happening to somebody or you, because you put yourself in that situation. It's the kind of thing you want to start committing some crimes and all that stuff. You may end up, running around with the wrong people, and you're going to end up in a bad situation that might not be justified, because all you're doing is going out shoplifting, and then everything goes crazy and you end up, in a worse position than you were.
Yeah, going out after midnight, I mean, you are usually shrouding yourself in darkness, so you don't want to be seen. Secrecy runs rampant. You don't have accountability of those who you can trust. So like you're all of the evil intentions of your heart have free reign, and they usually get the best of you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I got some more in the comments. What is about what you produce? There's a couple. Nick says you get one chance to make a good first impression. And then both Mary Gherkin and Diane Williams said anything worth doing is worth doing right. Or if you're going to do something, do it right the first time. So all of these about your efforts and what you produce and put out into the world. If you're going to produce something that's worth doing, put your best effort in it every time. Don't slack off.
And I think that first impressions thing is really important, and worth commenting a little bit on, because we tend to want to do, once again, be our own thing. So we want to go get a job, and we complain that we don't get this job, and we go to these interviews and this and that, but we're showing up in a shirt like Tracy has on.
Hey.
I mean,
this is
the first,
the
first impression. Just think, the first time viewer that looks at this show, I mean, who does he think is the pulpit preacher? Probably none of us.
The two guys in the t-shirts.
Hey, I got a church shirt on, so I'm doing pretty good.
That's true.
But once again, I mean, I've heard Rob Brackett tell a lot of people that come by the church to get, help and all that, but he's given them advice on, if you want to go get a job, you got to go get a haircut, you got to go get a shower, you got to get your clothes washed and clean, and you got to present yourself and make that first impression.
Yeah.
And people think they're going to walk in with all kinds of crazy stuff and expect that, someone's going to look favorably upon them just because they want to look a certain weird way.
Yeah, there's a common phrase in the business world of like, dress for the job you want, not the job you have. And that's basically leans into the same mantras that we've said so far of like, really take pride in yourself, but also live and work for the thing that you're working towards, not just live in your current situation. Like, put in the hard work and the effort.
Yeah.
And your appearance matters. Let me give one more, and then Tracy, how many more do you have for us?
I'll just do one more.
Okay, let me do one more from the comments, and then give people a chance to put last ones in. Carol Hartnett says, don't count your chickens before they're hatched.
I actually had that on my list, but I've got another one.
Well,
that's a good one.
Joe, anything? You have chickens. You got anything?
Glenda has chickens.
Oh,
See, it's a mother thing. It's a mother thing. They know. They know.
they know. They know.
Any others on there?
No.
We got one from Lisa Mauser. Says, my mom would say, if you don't stop crying, I'll give you something to cry about. And all my dad had to do was look at me and I'd start crying, never laid a hand on me. So
Yeah, that was what my dad said.
God in them, and then maybe some people will jump on while. So there's a good advice on here. I'm loving this.
I'm
Well,
telling
Tracy,
you,
why don't you,
mothers could rule the world.
If you got another one, Tracy, why don't you finish us up with a?
Yeah. I wanted to finish with this one, which is, life isn't always fair.
Mm.
And I think we're living in a culture right now where, things are not always fair. And it, doesn't mean that you're not right in saying something doesn't seem fair or not. Even with this virus, it doesn't seem fair that, this, what we would say a good person over here, they suffer, their whole family suffers, maybe they lose someone, and this person over here who seems to be a rotten person, in the world's estimation, and we think, they didn't get anything, so those are the kind of things that, and I think we hear this a lot right now with just a lot of things. We want everything to be the way and the problem with this sometimes is we all have our different ideas of fairness, but life isn't always fair, and you can sit and you can cry about it, or you can continue to move on. And
yeah, Jesus talks about, God provides rain for both the righteous and the unrighteous. It's not the God's gift and grace and all the blessings that we receive in life. It doesn't necessarily correlate with our morality, and sometimes life is unfair, but it's choosing God and choosing God's wisdom and pursuing Him even when life isn't fair. And that's
I'll put in a plug for your Bible Peel, because I think you talked about in the Cain and Abel situation and trying to figure that out, that you might look at that and say, this doesn't seem fair. But I would suggest you go listen to the Bible Peel and listen to what Tracy and Payton. I don't know that I agree with everything that these two guys said about it.
Do you agree with me more than Payton? Because we don't always agree.
Yeah,
that's the important thing.
But you had a discussion about, why was Abel's offering acceptable and Cain's wasn't? That just seems unfair, based on what we read. But yeah, that's life.
Yeah,
it's life. That's how it happens.
And here's the thing: we don't really know if this was unfair yet or not, because Cain can reap the benefits of Abel. So,
like I say, I didn't agree with everything that you just said.
Well, Brenda Chapelier puts it on, or Brenda's mom. Well, she said, my mom didn't say it, but I say it to my students. A fair is a place you go to ride rides.
Yeah.
I wish I knew that when I was working.
Yeah.
That's good.
Sandy Harrelson, just to close this out, Sandy Harrelson, if you keep doing what you've always done, you'll keep getting what you've always gotten.
Yeah, same results. Yeah.
Well, with that in mind, we're going to do a more wild talk next week that'll be different. We're not going to have the same thing and come up with the same results.
So we're expecting different results, folks. Different results. I don't know what we're expecting, but
yeah,
we will definitely ramp it up.
Yes. Yeah.
Now, one of the problems, Trace, that we talked about before we got on here, before we close it out, is there's an actually baseball game on ESPN right now. We're competing with Major League Baseball opening day.
And look how dedicated we are to be here.
We took 24 of their views. So
we took 24 of their views. That's huge.
That's big deal.
Well, I know Nick he would be sitting watching games right now, but
he probably is.
He probably is. He's probably watching baseball.
You can do two things at one time.
It's true. Especially, baseball is it's a great thing to do that with.
Well, listen.
All right.
Good session about moms. We'll have to in the future do it about dads. We'll have to get the dad advice and see.
My dad's got some solid advice for this world.
What the difference might be on the dad side.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll do that. We've got some other topics, I think, in the hopper. as far as coming up. And so next Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern time, I'm in Texas, so I'm on Central time right now.
Is that sunshine coming in the background?
it is still light out at 9 p.m.
Sun doesn't set in Texas.
No, it doesn't. So anyway, I have a hard time seeing the comet because I'm going to bed before it gets dark. But anyway,
Nick is fishing.
we need to sign off and go away and go watch baseball.
Absolutely.
So we'll see you all next week, 7 p.m. Thursday.
Later.